Okay, every single button has been pushed now in Zoom. At least that's what it feels like for me. It's click, 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 click. And I'm trying to learn how to also do this on LinkedIn. So please be patient with me in about the next month because it's going to be more clicking. And LinkedIn is a little bit less user-friendly than Facebook. So that's going to be a little bit more. I'll get it. It's just there's more things to click, and you got to go back and forth between LinkedIn and Facebook. So heads up if you haven't done that before. But welcome to this session. This is the first course of the focus for those in the purpose ecosystem. This is the first course in the sequence that they voted for purpose. What is purpose-driven living, purpose-driven leadership? Today, we're going to be talking about the foundations of purpose-driven living and what that means. So let's go ahead and get started. If everyone can repeat after me, the Empower People, that'd be fantastic. I, Tiffany Joy Greene, do solemnly swear to accept the lifelong obligation to hone my superhero powers and apply those superhero powers to the good of the people I serve. I will promote and add to the ongoing success of Empower People, its members, and the people, organizations, and communities it serves. I will help prepare the next generation of superheroes. I am driven to be a positive change agent for those I serve and interact with. And if you've been following, I've been doing this pretty routinely. So if everyone could just take a moment and do superhero pose, it'll change the course of your day. You will feel like a superhero. Got it. Cool. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the concept of purpose and its significance, and we're going to be exploring the elements of belonging, community, sustainability, social responsibility, quality of life, and then talking further about developing a personal purpose statement. Most of you know who I am. So I've done some people know me as Manic Maple. Some people know me as the Princess of Purpose. Some people know me as Mom. Some people know. I'm just kidding. We won't go over all the titles because it's a lot. But I focus on helping those who are purpose-driven leaders, and purpose-driven organizations. I have founded Empower People and Empower Source. I'm a business brand and strategy consultant and advisor for the for-profit and nonprofit sectors. I'm an author. You can see the books to the right. Educator, public speaker, entrepreneur, and all-around goofball. Let's move on to Mr. Ben DeBord, if you want to say a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a leadership and executive coach, and at the end of the day, I believe everyone deserves to thrive at life and in work, and that's what I'm here to support. So glad you're here today.
And let's all take a moment and give some well wishes to Ben, because Ben doesn't feel well this morning, and I guess something is going around his house, his family. So let's wish Ben some well wishes. So let's talk about purpose. But before we do, just for clarification, because everyone I'm seeing on my screen right here is aware of this, but I don't know if everybody in Facebook land or who's going to be watching this recording later on knows this. So the differentiator between Ben and I is that I am the advisor and Ben is the coach. And so as we go through this course today, we'll be talking back and forth from a different perspective, because I'll be talking as the advisor and Ben will be talking about the coach as from the coach's perspective. Sorry. So what is purpose? Okay. What is the definition of purpose? Well, I want to share. Oh, let me go back. I accidentally did that because I'm trying to let somebody in and I'm click happy. Did you let him in, Ben? Because I don't see him anymore. Thank you. So Henry Ford once said, there is no failure except failure to serve one's purpose. So when I hear that quote, what I hear is you're robbing yourself and others if you don't serve and live out your purpose, right? So purpose is a guiding force. It's some people will say it's their GPS, some people will say it's the lighthouse. that gives our lives meaning and direction. It's the thing that should be directing all of our directions. And what feeds purpose is our values, our beliefs. That all wraps up into purpose. So it's really the thing. If you're purpose driven, that's the thing that makes you want to jump up out of bed in the morning and get you going. Even when you know you're facing a hard day, it's the thing that makes you want to jump out of bed. Purpose is not kumbaya, just a feel good thing. There is a part of feeling good to it, but it's also there you can have SMART goals. Yeah. Wow, we just went from purpose to talking about, sounds like strategic planning, but SMART goals. They should be measurable. They should be attainable. They should be realistic. They're measurable. You should be able to measure yourself and how you're achieving your purpose. And it transcends individual achievement. So I think what people think of when they mistakenly sometimes when they think about purpose is they're thinking about awards, acknowledgement, how popular they are, how many likes they're getting on social media, whatever that is. That's not what purpose is. Purpose comes from the inside, remember, not from external validation. So it's not just about ambition. It's not about achieving success. It's about aligning with our actions with our core values and beliefs and ensuring that what we do is in harmony with who we are. It's also about when you have purpose, it's about knowing and being aware of what you're willing to fall on the sword for, right? What you're willing to sacrifice because it's just that important to you. And because you have this deep sense of fulfillment and purpose, you're going to actually feel better about yourself, and you're now no longer going to be robbing others of your purpose. But I'd like to take a moment now before we move on to the next bullet point, give Ben an opportunity to share what he thinks purpose is.
Yeah, and Tiffany, can you read that Henry Ford quote one more time?
There is no failure except failure to serve one's purpose.
Yeah, I really like that quote. And, you know, one of the things that stands out to me about it is I think I heard someone else speaking recently that essentially failure is an illusion because it's even when you get off track, that helps you to get back on track, right? And so even, I think all of us have likely had experiences where we've lived out of alignment with our purpose. And that experience too is not necessarily a failure, but a growth opportunity to help us learn and understand what our purpose is and what happens when we get out of alignment. So it's, similar to like Carol Dweck in the growth mindset, where when you have this mentality, everything serves your purpose, right? Even getting out of alignment or tripping up or quote unquote failure. And so I just encourage you all to think about what's going on in your situation right now that maybe you have a negative outlook or aversion to that may actually, how could it be serving your purpose?
Thank you, Ben. I'd like to say that purpose, going back to purpose, isn't just some sort of mystical thing we talk about. There are actual scientists and doctors who study purpose and what that impact is on our lives and our well-being. And that research keeps growing. So if you want, you can even review some of the NHS findings. But what they're finding already is not a shock, right? That purpose has a profound implication for overall well-being. It has shown that individuals have a clear sense of purpose tend to experience higher levels of happiness, better mental and physical health, and a longer life expectancy. So it provides stability in the sense when you're experiencing uncertain time, because you're rooted in your purpose, you know what your beliefs are. And it helps us navigate challenges with resilience and perseverance, because it keeps, again, it's that guiding light, like the lighthouse. It also fosters a sense of connection and belonging. And as we often find our purpose in service to others, because usually purpose is rooted in how we serve others. It's our intent. So when we look at purpose, it leads us to personal growth and self-discovery. And every day we can live to fulfill our purpose. Now, you may be saying or thinking, does purpose change? Does one's purpose change and evolve? It can evolve over time. But remember that core beliefs and values tend not to drastically shift over the course of your lifetime. So while sometimes you may feel, did my purpose change? Sometimes we get lost on the how we serve our purpose versus what our purpose is. There's different ways to achieve purpose, right? And the purpose isn't necessarily to ask. And we all know Simon Sinek, and we talk about the why, and then there's the why, the how. But the why is the fundamental. The why is like the purpose, right? So your purpose can, we grow as people. So your purpose can evolve a bit, but your core beliefs and values tend to not shift. So I would encourage everybody to think about, don't get blinded by the how and the task, because that can sometimes distract you from your purpose. Ben, would you like to add to that?
I think, like, yes, purpose can change. Even some of those core beliefs and values can change. I mean, everything is, a living organic thing. So I think with more insight, those things can change. And I think there's a sense of openness that has served me well to serve my purpose.
Thank you, Ben. And so now we're going to talk about personal versus collective purpose. And when you have collective purpose, and I start talking about purpose alignment, and you've heard me talk about that quite a bit already. So there's your personal purpose, which is what is your core values and beliefs. This is your unique self. This is as an individual, this is your unique self. And this is what gives your life meaning and direction. Again, this is your own personal GPS. It reflects your own values. It reflects your own passions and aspirations. So, for example, a personal purpose might be to nurture creativity, promote environmental sustainability, or advocate for social justice, right? That could be your personal purpose. Collective purpose, on the other hand, and this is actually what we're trying to forage here, is a shared purpose of meaning and direction within a group, a community, organization. So with Empower People, we have a collective purpose, right? Which is to empower people and to drive positive impact. So it's taking the many towards a common goal, right? And so when we're a team, there's no I in team. How many people have heard that? There's more power in the collective unit driving that change, right? So an example of a collective purpose could be a community's commitment to reducing homelessness, or a company's mission to innovate sustainability, or Empower People's mission to empower people and drive positive impact, right? But what is purpose alignment then, right? So you can have the collective purpose, but purpose alignment only occurs when you have the individual or the personal purpose aligned with the collective purpose. When you don't have that, you have disalignment. When disalignment occurs, the goals, the purpose is not achieved. So this is when I call it the magic sauce. When you have purpose alignment, that's the magic. That's the magic sauce on the Big Mac. No offense if you don't like Big Macs, but I thought they were tasty. So when personal values and passions resonate with the mission of a group or an organization, individuals often find greater satisfaction. They feel like they're part of something bigger. They feel like their work and their participation is meaningful, and they're very motivated. So if you're looking at it from a employer standpoint, you're going to not only be able to be efficient, right? But you're also going to be able to retain, and your work culture is going to be far healthier. So Ben, do you want to take a moment and speak to the personal versus collective purpose and purpose alignment?
Yeah, thanks, Tiffany. I love this concept because we live on different levels of, not to get too far into the woo here, right? But we live on different levels of um, awareness and reality. So, in one aspect, we're all individuals, right, with different physical characteristics. We're different astrological signs. We have different personalities. Those are kind of those gross personal realities. And then there's the next level up, communities, like our little Empower community here, or your little community in your family, your friends, etc., etc. Another level up, we are, the human race together. Another level up, we're just physical organisms on planet Earth. And so, you know, I think with purpose is like it's really easy for us to get stuck in that gross level reality where I'm an individual going around manipulating this external world. And like, how can you bring awareness to all these levels that you live on and live out your purpose and alignment of each one without getting stuck in another? Um, and so I love conversations like this, spaces like this, where we can continue to bring awareness and call attention to some of these bigger scope collective levels that um, they're not as apparent as this physical individual reality that's like looks us, we're so used to operating from. So thank you, Tiffany, for that.
Thanks, Ben. So now we're going to talk about a life of purpose. And I wanted to talk about, share two examples of people who have a life of purpose. And I'm sure everybody here knows Nelson Mandela and Oprah Winfrey, right? So when you look at Nelson Mandela, he's kind of like the quintessential example of a purpose-driven life. He was born into countries with racial discrimination and justice. He spent his whole life fighting for equality and human rights. And his purpose was clear, and it was to end apartheid and establish a democratic, non-racial South Africa. And he spent, what was it? Looking at my notes, 27 years in prison for his activation. I consider that falling on your sword, right? He knew what his purpose was. And when he came out of prison, he wasn't vengeful. He didn't change his core beliefs. He still fought for what he believed in the manner in which he felt you need to fight for what is right, which is doing right by others. So for me, Oprah Winfrey is an example of a life of purpose, and I'll tell you why. So when I was a young girl, after school, I would watch Oprah's show. And Oprah would always be talking and have these experts talking about purpose, whether she used the word purpose, sometimes she used other words, but it was always purpose. And I was like, wow, like it felt very like mind-blowing, bigger than me. And whenever she talked to people, even when she interviewed people, and I'll be honest, like her interviews of the celebrities were not my favorite. But when she did interview celebrities, I liked how she tried to get to the root of their purpose. I noticed this time and time again. And she talked about her journey and how she, like, if you even, like her journey, even through the Oprah Winfrey show, and how the 80s, if you look at the shows from the 80s and how they were versus how she evolved to what she is today, when she got clear about what her purpose was, everything shifted for her. Her business shifted, the show shifted, everything shifted for her. Because her purpose was always about raising other people up, right? That was ended up being, and when you look at the show from before that transformation, it really wasn't about raising people up, right? It's about ratings, like the drama and all that. I mean, it wasn't as bad as Jerry Springer, but she'd made this huge transformational shift. And one thing, and I've said this before, but for me, it was very profound. So I'm going to say it again. One episode of her show, she said, the way to know what your purpose is to look at yourself back when you were a child, before you had people telling you what you needed to do, what you should be doing, and the world's getting in the way of you. Look at what you did as a small child, what you played with, what you got joy from, because those are where your clues of what your purpose is. And I thought that was very profound and that was very meaningful to me. Ben?
Yeah, thanks, Tiffany. And one other person that comes to mind, I know you asked me about this slide, and this person just came to me in the moment, so I'm going to share. Anyone out there familiar with Viktor Frankl? He was a Holocaust survivor. He was a neurologist and a psychologist, and he wrote a great book called Man's Search for Meaning. And essentially, his core belief was that essentially a Stoic belief that we control our attitude and reaction to any circumstance, right? Which is a great notion to explore. And then reality was like, great, Victor, enter this concentration camp and let's test your purpose, right? And if you all are not familiar with it, it's a short read, A Man's Search for Meaning. Highly recommend it. But that purpose to live out that personal freedom of owning his inner peace, regardless of external circumstance, is what drove him through one of the worst horrors we've ever seen on the planet. And if that fascinates you, I highly recommend checking him out.
Thank you, Ben. I like that. I'm going to take a moment and Ben, I'll give you an opportunity too if you'd like to share anything more personal about yourself and purpose. And if you, I'll share mine. So every moment that you've heard people talk about like defining moments in your life, right? We all have defining moments. So I wasn't planning on this, so I apologize. Excuse me for a moment while I try to pick something up. It's, and of course, it's not easily accessible like I thought it was. So I can't grab it. But if you had been to the Empower People ribbon cutting last year, I shared the why behind Empower People, the purpose and why I created it. So one of the reasons of my why was this was a defining moment. So for those who don't know, I was kicked out of my home when I was a teenager unexpectedly. And before I was kicked out, there I was hit and I was told to leave. So I had an opportunity to grab one thing and I had no time to think about what I could grab. So I grabbed, what do you think I grabbed? I grabbed my book bag, full of books, and I walked out of the house with books and books only. And the reason why I grabbed my books was because I knew my purpose was through education, because if I got my education, I'd be able to help make the world a better place. And so as I was walking down the street, not having a clue where to go, seriously, but I had my books. And so on some level, even though I was devastated, I knew the power that I needed was right on my back. Ben, would you like to share?
Sure, that's tough to follow that. And just in general, for me and my purpose, I would say that, for we've all experienced suffering, right? And I'm no exception. And then there have been things that have alleviated that suffering in my life, or insights that brought more meaning and joy to my life. And my purpose is to experience them and then share them with others. Because I think deep down we all have a propensity to alleviate the suffering of others while within acknowledging, the beauty of our existence. So that's the backdrop of my purpose.
I like that, Ben. Thank you for sharing. And I can't believe we're almost at 9 o'clock. So I gotta get going because we got the Q&A session. And I know Charles got something to share too. So crafting a personal purpose statement. Oh, elements of I skipped one. I skipped a slide. Oops. So elements of a purpose-driven life. So belonging in community. These are some examples. These are like the broader concepts. Are you trying to establish belonging in community? Are you trying to create sustainability, social responsibility, quality of life? These are some kind of like broader objectives that you can, that your purpose may fall in. It doesn't mean it has to be that, but these are just like some of the broader. And a lot for organizations too. If the bucket of purpose, that it would be one of these buckets. So now crafting a personal purpose statement is you want to so many pages I got on my desk. So you want to think about, for self-reflection exercises, go back to what I said about Oprah. Think about what gave you joy as a child, and I mean a small child. Before, again, this is really key, like, so your earliest memories, because we really want to not pay attention to what people's expectations were of you, because that can cloud our judgment and our purpose. And you want to think about what your core values are. What activities make you feel most fulfilled? Also, when do you lose track of time? When are you like doing something and you're like, holy smokes, where did the time go? Because you totally lost track of time. That's a really strong indicator of what brings you joy and what are you willing to fall on the sword for, right? What are you willing to like risk everything for? Once you've identified those, you want to make sure that your actions align with these values. So anytime, and if anyone, I'm sure everyone here has had this moment, right? Where you've done something and you felt icky about it later, right? Who here has done something and felt icky about it later? Yeah. And that's because it's not aligned with your purpose. So when we're really decision making, sometimes we get lost in the coulda, woulda, shoulda. This person expects this of me, and this person, and they expect in the world and the society, and doesn't matter. What is your purpose? So when you're decision making, you'll have a lot less icky moments if you focus on what your purpose is. So once you know this and what you really want to do, I encourage everybody to take a moment and write your purpose statement. And it's really simple. You want to fill in the blanks of what you see on the screen. I strive to put in a verb, now a target. Who I'm playing, so like, who are you trying to help? What are you trying to help? By what method? That's the how. To the outcome. Again, measurable, people, measurable. So some examples would be, my purpose is to inspire and empower leaders through education, connection, and support, so that they can inspire and empower others. I wonder whose that is. That was mine. Ben, anything you'd like to add there?
No, you're nailing it.
Wait, mic drop. I need to bring my gold mic down. I have a gold karaoke mic and I'm not afraid to use it. My family probably like it if I go somewhere else with it. I do it very often. So again, integrate purpose into daily life. You really want to think about having practical strategies for living purposefully. So every day could be through journal writing. I just was telling somebody the other day, I sometimes write a journal. I don't write in a journal daily, but I do write in a journal. I also write poetry. And I talk to myself. I don't talk back, so I'm okay. But for me, I'm a verbal processor and I got to hear myself. I got to hear the words coming out of my mouth. And so that's a strategy I use to make sure that I'm living purposefully. Because when I am processing something, when I'm considering something, when I have a decision to make, that's a way for me, that's a strategy for me to make sure that I'm living purposefully. And remember, when you're facing something difficult, get to the root, and the root is the purpose. That will help you face your challenge. And having the support networks. This is one of your support networks to help you live your life with purpose. But it's also important to make sure you surround yourself with people that help you do that, and don't steal that now or take away that energy. One thing I always say is I got to get myself in the right room, right? You don't want to be in the wrong room. And that doesn't mean it's the wrong room for everybody when I say that, but you need to surround yourself with people that help fuel you to live out your purpose. Ben, would you have like to add anything to that?
Yeah, what's the I can't remember who came up with the concept, but it's like the 5 people you spend the most time with, you sort of acclimate or equalize with them. So it's a lot easier. Same thing when you're trying to break a habit, right? If you're trying to quit smoking cigarettes and the 4 people you spend the most time with all smoke cigarettes, that's doesn't mean it's impossible, but the deck is stacked against you. So think about what communities and spaces and rooms support your purpose and support the version of yourself that you want to become.
I like that, Ben. Thank you, Ben. So now, in summary, we want to reflect on your own purpose and how you can live a more intentional, fulfilling life. So remember, purpose is about intention. Intention is only as good as the action, right? So if purpose requires intention, remember, intention also requires action, right? So take the time to craft your purpose statement. It's already part of your homework anyway for most of the people here. So there's that. And integrate your purpose into daily activities. And I would talk about that. Talk about that with the people in this group right here. Talk about how you're interacting your purpose in your daily activities. And strive to create a life that's not only meaningful for ourselves, but contributes positively to our communities and the world. I know that's shocking based we're sitting in an Empower People course right now, and I would say that. You'd think that might be alluding to Empower People's purpose. So I'm gonna end the course with this quote, shockingly by Oprah. We have to make the choice every single day to exemplify the truth, the respect, and the grace that we wish for this world. So now we're gonna close out the Facebook Live, and we're gonna open up to Q&A. So thank you everybody in Facebook land. If you're not an Empower People member, you should be, so you can participate in our Q&A session. Just join, go to www.empowerpeople.org/join.